The ship carried Arya and Nira away from Earth faster than their hearts could understand. The blue planet became a small glowing dot behind them. They sat silently in their containment room. No windows, no comfort, only cold metallic walls. For the first time in their lives, they didn't feel like the proud daughters of Zeloria. They felt empty. Nira sat on the floor staring at her hands. "Do you think the humans are safe?" she asked quietly. Arya turned her head. "They didn't do anything wrong. The council won't care about them. But we do," Nira said. "We care too much," Arya didn't reply. Her mind was full of Ethan's face, the shock in his eyes, the confusion, the sadness. She wanted to tell him everything. She wanted to stay. But now it was too late. After several hours, the door opened. A tall Zalorian officer entered. He wore the silver armor of the council guard. His eyes were hard and sharp. "Prisoners," he said, "you are to be transported directly to the High Council. Any attempt to resist will be punished." Arya stood slowly. "We didn't resist. We obeyed our exile. You ended it early." The officer looked at her without emotion. "The council received a report. You interfered with the natives. You revealed your forms. That is enough." Nira clenched her fists. "We saved lives. We helped them." "Exactly," the officer said coldly. "You acted like them. That is your true crime." Neither girl spoke again. They were led through long corridors filled with the hum of engines. Outside the ship's viewport, stars stretched into bright lines. They were going home, but it no longer felt like home. When they arrived at Zeloria, the city of glass and light looked as beautiful as ever. Floating towers touched the clouds and energy rings spun above them, but to Arya and Nira it felt lifeless. The streets were clean, silent, and cold. No laughter, no chaos, no emotion. They were brought to the Hall of Judgment, a massive chamber surrounded by glowing pillars. The High Council sat above them, 10 figures dressed in flowing silver robes. The leader, Elder Zoran, spoke first. Arya and Nira of House Varen. His voice echoed through the hall. "You were sent to Earth for reformation. You were to learn humility through isolation. Instead, you contaminated a primitive world with your presence. Do you deny these charges?" Arya lifted her chin. "We do not deny meeting the humans. But we did not harm them. We learned from them. We changed because of them," the hall murmured. One of the counselors raised an eyebrow. "Changed? In what way?" "They taught us to feel," Nira said, stepping forward. "They taught us compassion. On Zeloria, we live with logic and power, but no warmth. On Earth, we learned what it means to care for someone who can do nothing for you. Isn't that worth more than pride?" Elder Zoran's eyes narrowed. "You speak like them. Emotions are weakness. Feelings destroy civilizations. You are proof of that." Arya's voice trembled with anger. "No, Elder. Feelings make civilizations worth saving. You've forgotten that." Gasps filled the hall. No one had ever spoken to the council that way before. Zoran rose from his seat. "Enough. You will be confined to the memory chambers for reconditioning. Your experiences on Earth will be erased." Both girls froze. "Erased?" Nira whispered. "You can't do that." "It is the law," another counselor said calmly. "Your memories of Earth, of the humans, will be removed. You will return to service as proper citizens." Arya's heart pounded. They wanted to take everything, Ethan, Ryan, every smile, every sound of laughter, every drop of humanity they had found. Nira stepped closer to her friend. "We can't let them do this." The guards moved forward. But Arya's eyes blazed. She wasn't a soldier, but she was a genius. During her exile, she had secretly modified a small device, something hidden under her wristband, a tiny pulse generator capable of disrupting local energy fields. She pressed it. The lights flickered. The guards froze, their armor shutting down for 3 seconds. It was all the time they needed. Arya grabbed Nira's hand. "Run!" They sprinted through the hall, pushing through the shocked counselors. The doors burst open, alarms blaring. They raced down corridors, guards chasing them. "Where are we going?" Nira shouted. "Anywhere but here," Arya said. "We can't let them take our minds." They reached the hangar bay. Rows of sleek silver ships lined the walls. Guards poured in behind them, shouting. Arya jumped into a small scout ship and slammed the door shut. Nira activated the engines. The floor trembled as the ship powered up. Arya looked at her friend. "You ready to break the law again?" Nira grinned weakly. "Wouldn't be the first time." The ship blasted out of the hangar, streaking through the clouds. The defense drones activated immediately, firing beams of plasma. Arya dodged between them, her fingers flying over the controls. Course? Nira shouted. Arya didn't hesitate. Earth, Nira smiled. Of course. The ship accelerated into hyperlight. Behind them, the Zalorian fleet gave chase, but their smaller vessels slipped into a narrow warp corridor, a path Arya had mapped long ago. It was dangerous, unstable, but fast. Inside the ship, silence filled the cabin. The hum of the engines was the only sound. Do you think the humans will even want us back? Nira asked quietly. Arya stared out the window. I don't know. But I know we need to see them again. We need to protect them. If the Council finds Earth, they might decide it's safer to erase everything. Nira's eyes widened. You think they'd destroy it? They've done worse, Arya said softly. If they think humans can corrupt us, they won't take chances. That thought filled both of them with fear and determination. When the ship exited warp, the blue glow of Earth filled the screen again. Arya almost cried seeing it. Home, she whispered. They entered the atmosphere quietly, hiding their energy signature. The ship landed once again near Pine Lake. Everything looked the same, the trees, the mountains, the small town lights. They stepped out, feeling the soft wind on their faces. It felt warm, alive, welcoming. But the peace didn't last. Within hours, humans noticed strange lights in the sky. The Zalorian fleet was coming. The Council had tracked them. Arya and Nira ran to the town. Ethan was there, standing outside his workshop, staring at the sky with the same awe she had seen before. He turned and froze when he saw her. Arya, is it really you? She nodded, breathless. Yes, I came back. He didn't move for a moment, then he smiled and pulled her into a hug. She had never felt something so warm, so real. I thought I'd never see you again, he said softly. You might not, she said sadly. They're coming. They think humans are dangerous to us. Ethan frowned. Dangerous? We're not. I know, she said. That's why I have to stop them. Nira appeared holding a small device. Ryan followed behind her, carrying a backpack full of tools. You told him? Arya asked. Nira shrugged. He saw the ship. He insisted on helping. Ryan grinned nervously. Guess I'm part of the rebellion now. Despite the fear, Arya laughed. You humans never give up, do you? Not when friends are in danger, Ethan said. High above them, the sky lit up. The Zalorian ships descended, bright silver against the dark. The lead ship opened its communication channel. Elder Zoran's voice boomed across the air. Arya and Nira, you have defied the Council twice. Surrender now, or this planet will face consequences. Nira looked up, her jaw tight. They mean it. They'll destroy everything, Arya thought fast. They couldn't fight the fleet head-on, but they could make them listen. She opened her communicator, linking it to the ship's broadcast system. Her voice carried through the open channel to the entire fleet. This is Arya of Zaloria, she said. To all ships listening, you think humans are weak, but you are wrong. They are stronger than us in ways we can't measure. They love, they forgive. They live fully. We have lost that. And if we destroy them, we destroy the best part of ourselves. There was silence for a long moment. Zoran's voice finally returned, colder than before. You are blinded by emotion. You have betrayed your kind. Maybe, Arya said, but I'd rather betray the law than betray my heart. At that moment, Ethan stepped forward. If they want proof, he said, then let them see what humans really are. He looked up at the sky, spread his arms wide, and shouted into the communicator Nira held open. We're not perfect. We fight, we fail, we make mistakes, but we care. We stand up for our friends, no matter where they're from. And that's not weakness. That's who we are. The words echoed through the channel. On the Zalorian ships, soldiers listened quietly. Some lowered their weapons. Zoran hesitated. He had seen many wars, many species, but never a primitive one that faced extinction with such courage. Then another counselor's voice broke through the channel. Elder, the fleet crews are refusing to fire. What? Zoran hissed. They agree with the humans. The old leader's face hardened. Then they are fools. Before he could order another command, Arya sent a coded pulse through the channel, a signal she'd designed during her studies. It spread through the fleet, disabling their weapon systems temporarily. This ends now, she said. Leave Earth, or face shame across the Union. For several tense seconds, no one moved. Then slowly, the Zalorian ships turned. One by one they began to ascend, disappearing into the clouds. Zoran's voice came one last time. You have made enemies in high places, Arya and Nira. But perhaps you've reminded us of something we forgot. The transmission ended. Silence returned to the sky. The ships were gone. Arya and Nira stood there, stunned. It was over. The humans were safe. Ethan laughed softly, his eyes bright. You just talked down an alien fleet, Arya S. Me. The twin suns of the planet Zeloria cast long shadows across the council hall. Two young alien girls, both from noble families, stood before the elders of their world. Their names were Arya and Nira. Both were known across the Empire as troublemakers, brilliant, talented, but reckless beyond reason. Arya had hacked into a military ship's navigation system for fun. Nira had joined her thinking it was just another prank. But their game had caused chaos. A fleet had gone off course and crashed on a mining moon. No one was killed, but it had embarrassed the Zelorian High Council before the entire Galactic Union. The punishment came swift and public. They were to be banished to a primitive world at the edge of the galaxy, a planet where no interstellar technology was allowed, no communication with the stars permitted, and no way to return until their sentence was over. That planet was called Earth. Neither of them had heard of it before. In Zelorian schools, Earth was barely mentioned. Just another small world where humans lived with limited technology and short lives. The Council thought exile there would humble them. When their ship entered Earth's orbit, the two girls looked down through the viewport. Blue oceans, green lands, white clouds. It looked calm. This place looks dead, Nira said, crossing her arms. No energy grids, no plasma shields, no floating cities. How are we supposed to live here? Arya smiled faintly. Maybe that's the point. The ship landed in a forest in northern Canada, far from human eyes. The onboard AI deactivated itself after confirming the landing. They were alone, just two aliens on a strange, quiet world. Their exile would last one Earth year. If they survived peacefully and caused no incidents, they could return to Zeloria. At first, they hated everything. The air felt too cold. The gravity felt heavy. The food, when they tried local plants, tasted odd and rough. And humans were everywhere. Loud, emotional, unpredictable creatures. For weeks, they hid in the woods using a small camouflage device to stay unseen. They watched the humans from a distance in villages, schools, stores. They tried to understand them but couldn't. Humans seemed to argue one moment and laugh the next. They cried over small things. They cared too much, even for strangers. Arya couldn't understand it. They waste so much energy feeling things, she said one night, as they sat near a campfire they'd learned to build. Nira poked at the fire with a stick. Maybe that's why they don't have war fleets like ours. They're too busy feeling. Their boredom didn't last long. One morning, while Nira was scanning a river for minerals, she heard shouting nearby. A human boy had fallen into the water, caught in the current. He was barely a teenager. Without thinking, Nira dropped her scanner and ran. Her boots splashed into the icy water. She grabbed the boy, lifting him easily with her enhanced strength, and carried him to shore. The boy coughed and stared up at her with wide eyes. Are you an angel? He asked weakly. Nira froze. She'd disguised herself to look human. Same brown hair, same eyes, but she didn't know what to say. No, she muttered, just someone passing by. The boy smiled faintly and passed out. She brought him to the nearest town, left him near a hospital entrance, and vanished before anyone saw her. But that moment, his words, his fragile smile stayed in her mind. No one had ever looked at her that way before. Not with fear, not with authority, but with gratitude. When she told Arya, her friend laughed. You're going soft. Maybe, Nira said quietly. But it felt good. Saving someone? Arya didn't reply. Days passed, then weeks. The girls began to explore further. They learned to blend in using holographic disguises that made them look fully human. They found a small town nearby, Pine Lake, and started visiting its cafe, its library, its market. Humans greeted them warmly, thinking they were new students or travelers. Arya, curious as ever, started talking to one of them, a young man named Ethan, who worked at the local workshop repairing cars. He had rough hands, kind eyes, and a quiet humor that made her laugh more than she expected. At first, she only talked to him to learn about human technology. But soon she started visiting just to talk. Ethan told her about his dreams, his small life. his worries about paying rent and his fascination with the stars. "You know," he said once, wiping grease from his hands, "I always wanted to go out there, to see what's beyond Earth. Maybe one day humans will find a way." Arya smiled softly. "Maybe you already have." He didn't understand what she meant, but he smiled back anyway. Nira, meanwhile, found herself spending time with the boy she'd saved, Ryan. He'd recovered quickly and started looking for her. When he finally saw her again in town, he ran up and hugged her without warning. "You saved my life," he said. "You're my hero." Nira didn't know what to say. In her world, saving someone wasn't a heroic act, it was expected. But here this young human treated it as something sacred. That simple emotion, that genuine gratitude, made her heart ache in a way she didn't understand. As the weeks turned into months, both girls began to change. They learned to cook human food, though they often burned it. They laughed with humans, helped them with small things, fixing power lines, rescuing animals, even joining in local events. They began to care, and something strange happened. Their punishment started to feel less like exile and more like belonging. One night, under a sky full of stars, Arya and Nira sat by the lake outside town. Their holograms were off, their true alien forms glowing faintly in the moonlight. "I think I get it now," Nira said softly. "Why the council sent us here." Arya looked at her. "To humiliate us?" "No," Nira said. "To remind us what it means to feel. To care, humans. They live short lives, but they fill every second with meaning. Maybe that's what we lost back home." Arya was silent. She thought of Ethan's laugh, his small dreams, his determination to fix old machines just to make someone's day easier. She thought of his kindness. Maybe Nira was right, but fate had other plans. One evening, while Arya was helping Ethan repair a generator, a deep rumble filled the air. The ground shook. Everyone ran outside, staring at the night sky. A ship, a massive one, descended through the clouds, its hull gleaming with Zolorian markings. The girls' hearts froze. The council had come. They weren't supposed to arrive early. Their sentence wasn't finished. Something was wrong. A voice echoed from the ship's speakers, speaking in Zolorian. Arya and Nira understood instantly. "Subjects Arya and Nira, your exile period is terminated by order of the High Council. You are to be retrieved immediately." Humans around them looked confused and terrified. Ethan grabbed Arya's hand. "What's going on?" "What is that thing?" Arya's throat tightened. She couldn't answer. "Please," Nira whispered, her eyes on Ryan, who stood beside her. "Don't let them take us yet." But the ship's beams activated. Light surrounded them. Their human disguises flickered and vanished, revealing their true alien forms. Gasps and screams filled the air. Ethan stared at her, wide-eyed. "Arya, you're not human." Tears filled her eyes. "I wanted to tell you." Before he could say another word, the beam lifted them into the sky. The town shrank below them, the lights fading into darkness. Inside the ship, soldiers stood waiting. The captain looked at them coldly. "You've broken the rule. You've exposed yourselves to the natives. The council will decide your fate." Arya and Nira said nothing. They only looked out the window, at the little town, at the humans who had changed them forever. For the first time in their lives, both alien girls felt true fear. Not of punishment, but of losing the world that had taught them what it meant to be alive. And as the ship rose into the stars, Earth grew smaller beneath them. Yet in their hearts they both knew something had changed forever. Arya looked at Nira, her voice barely a whisper. "We can't let them erase this." "We can't forget them." Nira nodded, her jaw set. "Then we won't." Outside the viewport, the blue planet shimmered in the dark. The humans below had no idea what they had started. Two alien hearts forever touched by Earth. And somewhere deep in their minds, a quiet promise formed. They would come back, no matter what the council said.